mid-season draft. I just love the mid-season draft. Let's talk about it. So on Wednesday, in a couple of days, the mid-season draft takes place, and we love the mid-season draft, right? We absolutely love it. Johnny Noble, mid-season draft, the first mid-season draft player to play 100 games. Like, that's absolutely incredible. He would have been the second to play in a premiership if he had, because we know Marlon Pickett, he debuted in a grand final and won a premiership with Richmond. That's crazy as well. And there's so many good stories. They're obviously the two sort of biggest ones. But then you've got Aiden Begg was a mid-season draft. And Carmichael mid-season draft, Ash Johnson mid-season draft, and that's just the Collingwood ones. You look at Jai Newcomb, who Hawks took as the number one pick in the mid-season draft a couple of years ago. He probably could be the next Hawthorn captain. He is absolutely incredible, and it's just good stories all the way through. And it gives these older players. I say older players, they're like 23, 24, 25, so younger than me, but it gives these mature age players a chance, if they've been overlooked, to go again, and I think it's fantastic. There needs to be a mid-season trade period. If you watched my video yesterday, the lessons video, you would see that I froth a mid-season trade period as well, because, especially with our outs at the moment, it would be awesome to just trade for someone. If it's Rory Lobb, or is there another forward that's, let's just say, I don't know, Peter Wright's not going good at Essendon. He's not getting a game, right? Whatever. We could trade for him potentially if he wants out. I think it'd just be amazing. I wish it comes in. I don't think it will for another couple of years until they iron it out, which is what they have to do for everything, with league equality and stuff like that, making sure that the lower teams aren't losing players to the bigger teams, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think it would be absolutely huge. What I'm going to do in this video is go over a couple of names that have been popping up. If you've watched any of my draft videos, you know I have absolutely NFI, so I'm using my best friend Google and Rookie Me Central, shout outs to them, and a bunch of other sort of websites to talk about these players. I've seen a couple of highlights, we've seen a couple of them, so let's get into it. As I'm recording this video, Collingwood currently has picks 13 and 22 in the mid-season draft. So if Melbourne win, our draft pick goes from 13 to pick 12, because we go one up, because Melbourne will sort of leapfrog us. And so we'll take two picks into the draft. So the first pick is for Nathan Murphy's retirement. The second pick will be for Aiden Begg's season-ending injury. If we take both picks, like live picks, I don't know. I haven't seen any sort of talk about it. We could potentially, especially, like I said, with all of our injuries that we have at the moment, it's probably throwing a bit of a spanner in our draft plans. We didn't anticipate all of our ruckmen to be going down except for Darcy Cameron. So who knows how long Mason Cox is out for until we get his bone bruising diagnosis back. Is prognosis a word? Until we get that back. But these are a handful of players that we've been linked with. Let's talk about them. The first guy I want to talk about, we know him very well. He's a part of the Collingwood VFL system. It's 190 centimetre Jack Hutchinson. So you probably remember Hutchie from that huge screamer that he took in the VFL earlier on this season. And he is a forward target. Now, you got to remember that we don't have McStay for a while. We don't know what's happening with Myercheck's hamstring. We do, though, have Ash Johnson and Nathan Kruger and Reef McInnes in the twos in the VFL. That they're waiting to come back in. So he might get through to us with our pick, 12 or 13 or whatever it may be. But is he the sort of guy that we're sort of looking for? I think before all of these injuries happened to Begg, Steen, and Cox, he was probably one. If it got to us, we would have taken him, because 190 centimetre forward, that's very young, lots of upside. Nathan Kruger's always injured. Ash Johnson, we don't really know, if we're going to be using him again or whatever it sort of may be. He would be the perfect chop out for Brody Myercheck and waiting for Dan McStay to come back. So I would have probably taken him with our first pick had we needed him. But now, because the goalposts have changed a little bit, I think Hutchie might be on the back burner. I don't really know. Like, I haven't heard any grapevine whispers or anything like that. But I think he might be on a bit of the back burner. But I would love to bring him into the seniors because he's been dominating the VFL. He's kicked about 9 goals in the first 6 or 7, or the first six rounds. He's kicked 9 goals, which is a great return for a forward with, half the midfield out of the VFL because they're playing in the AFL. So bit more delivery would be amazing to sort of hit that up. He can take a really, plays taller than 190 centimeters. And we've seen Brody Mychak is not super, over 200 centimeter forward. So it'd make a good 1-2 punch. But I just don't think this is the guy that we're going to go for at the moment, unless he falls to our, pick 22, which I highly doubt. The next two guys that we've been linked with are both defenders. And again, these are the sort of players that we probably could have been looking at, like a Jeremy Howe replacement. If we have to chuck Frampton forward or something like that, or just a bit of defensive cover, because at the moment our only defensive cover is Charlie Dean, and he's still growing, he's still learning. And that's not to say that these guys aren't growing and learning, but these guys, could have been someone that could train with the seniors, and who knows what they sort of could have brought to the table. So the first guy is Will Patton from South Australia, 192 centimeter, tall defender, good intercept marking player, can run and carry. He's one of those guys where you probably liken him to like that Nathan Murphy type, with what Nathan Murphy was able to produce. He captained the state of South Australia as well, so that's huge leadership. Overall, great player. Like the rebounding stuff, that he reads the play really well. One of those guys that could fit into our system like no tomorrow, right? We've seen it time and time and time again. These sort of guys, just if they can run, they're in our system. And this guy can run. He's a leader. Reads a player well. Can take a good mark. So by all accounts, could be a good pickup. I just don't think at the moment we're going to be going for a defender. The next defender we're looking at is Jacob Blight, 196 centimeters. And look at this. So he's played 6 games in the Waffle, averaging 18 disposals, 9 marks, and 2 tackles. He played the state game, so he's from Western Australia, plays for Peel Thunder. He played against South Australia. In that game, he had 17 disposals, 13 marks, 4 contested, and 6 rebounds from 50. So showing his qualities in a 63-point loss, which is absolutely huge. So he would have been bombarded. Lots of teams are looking at him as well. And again, one of those guys, like Will Patton, one of those guys that could fit so well into our system. Hopefully these guys get to that second pick. If they sort of get there, if we even take a second pick. But I'll keep reiterating, I feel like the goalposts have changed so much at the moment. Even I think with Cox, because you got to think that with Cox, he wasn't playing super well, and no one was able to take his spot. No Aiden Begg, no Oscar Skeen to sort of take his spot, so Cox can go into the twos and build his game up again. So Cox was staying in the team, but now Cox is out of the team. We need someone who can fill his spot. And unfortunately, I feel Jacob Blight, Will Patton, amazing players, they can't fill Cox's spot because they're defenders. They're not ruckmen. That brings me on to the last guy we're sort of going to talk about, who we know very well, actually, if you've been keeping up with pre-season selections and stuff like that. Bryn Teakle. Now, he trained with us. He was one of the SSP guys training with us, and I've talked about him in the preseason videos. I loved everything that he was doing. He was going forward when he needed to, taking some good grabs, kicking a couple of goals in the trial matches and stuff like that. But most importantly, now, for this video, for this time of Collingwood, he's a ruckman, and he has absolutely been dominating in the ruck. He's playing for East Fremantle at the moment, and just look at these hit out numbers. Round 3 against West Coast, 52 hit outs, 35, 48, 28, 26. So he's one of those guys now, and we've seen what we can do. By all accounts, I'm hearing that Collingwood are in discussions with him. If he gets to our pick 12, 13, whatever it may be, I think this is the guy that we're taking, because it's just a no-brainer. It's really a no-brainer. We need that ruck cover. We don't know how long Cox is going to be out for. We need that ruck cover. We play well with 2 rucks. Cameron can't do it all by himself. I don't want Frampton in the ruck. I don't want to bring Ash Johnson and just play him in the ruck. I think Bryn Teakle is the guy that we're going to get, and I think he'll be a Collingwood player on Wednesday. And it's so funny. You think about it. We had 6 players trialing with us for the SSP. We've already signed 3 of them. So that's Lockie Sullivan, Bytel, and Josh Eyre. And we could sign the 4th in Bryn Teakle. And I think he's 203 centimetres, big boy, 25, played for Port Adelaide, averaging a bunch of disposals. He's averaging like 16, 17 disposals as a ruckman, averaging 5 marks a game and averaging 3 tackles a game. So that's huge for a ruckman, and obviously the hitouts is just insane numbers. He's the guy that we're going to go for. I was going to say I put my house on it, but I sold my house, so can't really put my house on it. But I haven't heard, but I pretty much it has to be. It has to be Bryn. I can't see it going to anyone else unless someone takes him sort of before us. And I feel like, there's talks about Ned Long. There's talks about potentially going for Ned Long as well, but I feel like he'll be taken before our time as well. So I think we should put all our money onto Bryn Teakle. He's exactly what we need, and that's the best thing about the mid-season draft and why I want a mid-season trade period. We've got no ruckman except for Darcy Cameron. There's a ruckman right here, and this is the guy that we're going to get. Any others? The thing is, with any other sort of ruckman in the competition, in the mid-season draft right now, they're not AFL ready like Bryn Teakle is. And in saying that, Richmond probably grab him because Richmond are like decimated with injuries, so they probably need a ruckman. It's going to be really interesting to see who we pick on Wednesday, but I really do hope that it's Bryn Teakle. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Who do you think we're going to take? Was there a name on the list that I didn't talk about that you think we're going to take? Leave your thoughts down below. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, stay pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.